Hello and welcome to an incredibly special art edition of Banana Island Living podcast. This is the first in a series of specialist art podcasts. And today we have two ultra mega artists, similar in age, but each doing incredible things in their own sphere. But before I introduce them, take a moment, go to Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from and give us a 5-star rating. Hello, Alimi.
Hello.
And hello, Ayoola.
Hello.
I'm so excited to introduce Alimi Adewale and Ayoola Omoba Ayoola Gbolahan.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Alimi was born in 1974 in Lagos. Ayoola was born in 1977 in Ibadan. Now, Alimi went to school in Ibadan.
And Ilorin.
Ayoola went to school in Ibadan. And Ife. Now, did your paths meet during this time at all? In Ibadan, by any chance? No. Interesting. Now, Alimi started out as a mechanical engineer. Now, his practice, he posits genres traditionally evoked in painting, such as portraits, landscapes, and the urban environment. But he spins it with a contemporary expression into a profusion of rich texture and what would call uncommon sculptural finish. He incorporates elements of minimalism and abstraction to create a body of work that is distinctly current, witty, and it's been described as macabre.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are my sculptural piece, which I started during it was during the election, the last election. They always tell you, go and vote. And I realized that politicians actually don't get across to us. In some society, when you see election, the aspirant will talk to the taxi driver, to the teachers tomorrow. But right here in Nigeria, they just say, oh, you've got the right to vote, go and vote, without you knowing what are the plans.
No, they never have a specific thing.
That we're kind of very faceless. That is why the face of my sculpture started becoming very blank.
I saw those ones with a sort of like knocked off face.
Absolutely, yes. So it's not only in Nigeria. So the focus is wherever in the world where people don't have freedom of speech or where
there's no representation
exactly of the people, yeah.
Right. Now, Ayoola, you are a multidimensional artist and you specialize in abstract expressionism and symbolism.
Yes.
But you knew from day one you were going to go into fine art? Because you did fine art and applied art at University of Ife. Yeah. Alimi did mechanical engineering, but you started with fine art. Yeah. So you always knew that was where you were going to end up?
No.
You didn't know?
No.
It was God's work?
No, it was actually thanks to my mom.
Right.
I wanted to be an architect because one of my senior brother's friends was an architect at that time, and he used to come to the house and we'll be drawing, myself and him. And, he always beats me to it. Of course, I was a kid. I think I was like 6 or 7. But that challenge always made me look up to him like, I want to be like him when I grew up. And he was an architect. He was studying architecture at that time. So I always fantasized about being an architect. And I remember, I think in my teenage years, I used to draw a lot of houses, like plans and stuff like that. But by the time I was done with high school, I had like A grades in fine art. And my mom was just like, why don't you just go for what you already know, what you're good at?
That's amazing for a Nigerian mom to leave the sure professional thing to go into art. She was ahead of her time.
Truth is, many people always say they want to meet my mom because she must be really crazy.
Is she still alive?
Yes, she is. She's going to be 80 this year.
I've got plans to be there. Now, Alimi, you started out mechanical engineering.
Actually, I studied mechanical engineering, but I was actually in a consulting field. I was at Accenture and also at a financial advisory firm that is Vetiva.
You left good money to go into art.
It was actually a very tough decision, and
I'm not surprised.
While I was doing this work, art was like a therapy for me, and I developed over time. So then there are actually two choices. You have to go back to school to study art, or the workshop kind of part. So I'm more like a self-taught, with residencies and art workshops. That is how I was able to develop my skills.
But the two of you had like a definitive breakout. Mm-hmm. What was your breakout year?
It was actually my first exhibition.
No, the very first exhibition.
The very first exhibition.
Good Lord.
So
no starving artist in the garret for you.
To be honest, for the artists
you missed. You should have starved in a garret for authenticity.
For some of the young artists that I mentor, I always tell them, don't use me as an example. I'm far from it. I'm not like the typical artist story. So don't count on that same energy. But I think it was like he said, some form of preparation and being mentored by the right person could help you start out like great. So after I finished school, before my service year, I did a year in Tolawewe studio. Wow. At that time, Tolawewe was probably like the biggest Nigerian artist, if I can remember, in that period. So he unlearned everything I learned in 4 years. And this is no disrespect to art schools. But I'm not for art schools. Right. What he did was unlearn all the things I learned in 4 years and made me connect with myself, which he believes that is where the artist really needs to get to. Not what you're being taught in school, but what you are, yourself. That's your art. So I went through all of that in 1 year, and all the works that I made with him. He said we were going to do a show together, like a group show. But I had to go for my service year, so I couldn't make the group show. So I came back and he said, okay, put all the works together. I'm going to introduce you to a gallery. Wow. Came to Lagos. I took like 5 of the works, and he drove me in front of this gallery and said, walk right in there. I said, come with me. He said, no, I'm not coming with you.
Wow.
Just go right in there and tell me what will happen after. So I walked right in there, and this guy looked at the work, and another artist was there, and they both looked at it, and the guy said, no, I'm taking all 5 of them. I was shocked. So he paid. Of course, I took the money and went to some restaurant opposite the gallery.
Blew it.
And I blew all the money. So it was on like a Thursday. On Tuesday, he called me back and said, do you have more? I'm like, no, I don't have more, but, I'm still working on some pieces, blah, blah, blah. I said, but why? He said, because some guy came on Saturday and bought all 5 of them.
Good grief.
Oh, then I was like,
I should have charged more. I should have charged more.
At that time, I'd convinced my mom that I still want to go to the UK and
do masters or something
else, like business administration or something of art.
Because you didn't really believe that you could make a living from it.
That whole being an artist thing. So she was like, okay, all right. So I think I put in like a registration fee to the school. This gallery and this artist that I met on that day convinced me to defer my admission.
Wow.
From September, I think, to January the following year. What I didn't know was they were planning an exhibition for December.
Gosh, yeah.
So before, once I confirmed that I deferred, they now said, okay, we're going to do an exhibition before you leave, if it's going to be the last one, blah, blah, blah. And we did this exhibition, and it was a 2-man show, myself and this artist, I think 15 works, each 30 pieces, if I remember. And I invited my mom. On the day of the show, before an hour, I'd sold like 10.
Now, where was I? I should have bought one.
First exhibition I've had in Lagos, and it was first one. So I told my mom, I said, look, this thing is like real good. My mom was laughing. She was really
it must have
looking
been
at me
so
like,
rewarding for her.
I told you kind of thing.
Yes.
But she didn't pressure. She was like, no, just enjoy your time. You can still go when you want. Anyway, cut long story short, before January came, I canceled the admission and took my money back.
You never went again?
And I told my mom I'm not going anymore.
That's it. You see what mothers are?
Yeah.
Incredible. Now, Alimi, how did you convince your wife and yourself to leave? And did you have a family then?
Yes, I've got
to
a
leave.
daughter.
I mean, those were highly coveted jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How did you convince yourself to make that leap? And was it your breakout year that did it?
Then, at Accenture, Dr. Suleiman was my boss, and it's actually always very art-filled environment and a lot to be inspired about. And so I was working while I had my first exhibition.
So you didn't quit that job. You had a plan B and C.
So actually I had my first exhibition at Quintessence, curated by Mr. Moses back then.
Yeah, Moses, yeah.
And so I was at this retreat, and so there was a publication in the newspaper about, because right in the office, my boss didn't know about it.
So this was a side hustle?
Yeah, it's just something you do over the weekend, and it's just an hobby. And sometimes, this is good, really, come and show it. Put up a body of work. Also, it's a very tense environment. I go home, I paint, I feel so good.
Yeah.
So it was in the newspaper. I was looking at it, and I was sitting right there at the retreat, of the firm, and said, "Oh, why you did this stuff?" And it said something. I'm angry at you. Why didn't you put it that you work with us? So
they were not complaining about you doing it.
Absolutely.
It was just that the company did not get publicity from it.
Us. Why didn't you mention us in this? I said, "Oh, wow, this is..." So over time, I took over. I just said, okay, I just have to leave this stable income if I want to be true with myself, and just follow that path. And since then, there's been no regret. There's always something that if you love what you do, you never work all your life. So it's filled with its ups and downs. Try to navigate the art terrain in Nigeria.
Well, that's my next question. You guys are so comfortable and done very well. And I remember what you said, Ayoola. Don't use me as an example, because if it's I tell you, I have a relative who was a very good artist. And when he was going to secondary school, they offered him an art scholarship. And then he was being offered as much as £500. He was only a teenager then, to paint people. After some time, he said no. He wants to be a banker. We said, what? He said he calculated the number of man hours he spent on painting. He did the math, and how much he was earning per hour was not enough. He could be a gardener and earn more money, but he didn't want to do that journey. By the time he finishes, when he will earn big, big money and whatever, I don't think he had the passion for it. He was good at it, naturally good. He was taught technically, but he was always doing math and engineering in the background. So he went ahead, did engineering, and went into banking and hasn't looked back. So you have to have the passion, and it has to be what you want to do. And like I said, not everybody will be. Do you think it's luck, or do you think it was destiny? Because you're very spiritual.
I think as well, there's a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
Like I said, that I don't want to ignore, because look at all the work that somebody like Adewale were putting on me.
Yes.
Yes.
And look, you may ignore your years of education, but it gave you technical skills.
Oh, yes, it did. And also, the challenges, because you're in a class of 30, and they're always grading you on who knows how to draw the most, who knows how to do, and all of that makes you just want to be the best. Because I remember, I just want to be on top of all my grades all the time. Not because I want to pass, but because I'm competing with other people in the class. So I think it was a competition that was
gives you the drive, yes.
But for my professional career, I want to give the credit more to people who work with me outside school.
Okay.
And it's important because, look, being a professional artist and being an educated one that went to art school is two different things.
Yeah.
Out of all the 30 in my class, I think I'm the only one that is professional now.
If it was my child, I wouldn't allow it to.
Everybody had fallen out, lecturer, this, that, So, and you can start the art collecting world is very flaky, right? So you can start well. Your first show, you sold out. Third, second show, you don't. Nobody knows. Because it's a huge circle and people move and it's taste. And people always say things like, who's going to fill their whole house with the same artist? Nobody. You buy a collection. That's what it's about.
I have a lot of Alimi. I'm not proud.
So you buy a collection. So you have to know this at the back of your mind, that you have to keep reinventing yourself. So that taste, you keep getting appealing to people's various tastes. So like my mom, she's a spiritual person. So my mom's concentration was to give me spiritual balance and belief. She wouldn't tell me things about art or this, but she would tell you things about, read the part of in the Psalms that says you're a God. Read it, So she puts all of that in my head.
Is she an artist by any chance?
So my uncle was some sort of artist. She told me, I didn't really know that part, but he didn't come out professionally.
Yeah.
But he was a traditional artist.
Okay.
In Ikolekiti. So I think he used to do work for the Royal Palace or something. But my mom, no, she was a nurse.
I wanted to ask about spirituality, especially in the African context, and your art. Alimi, you do a lot of contemporary work. Yes. How would you say spirituality, and I'm going to get to you, Ayoola, because I want to hear about the Obatala link.
Oh, yes.
And how it affects your art. You're a Christian? Are you a practicing Christian or not?
No.
Okay.
Not non-religious.
Yeah. Because a lot of African art seems to connect with...
our society, as we evolve as a nation, people are getting discerning. People are, people always ask that what's the purpose of art? Why is art important? It was during the lockdown that people now realize, this is it. Because TV couldn't do it for people, nothing can do it. And because as Lagos-based people, we are always very... super busy.
Yes.
I mean, I know people are
they're too busy.
They have collected works that they don't even have time to glance at it.
Or
and for the first
properly.
time, you're forced to be locked down. And it was in that period I realized, wow, I'm really glad I'm an artist, because the feedback, people say, can you tell me the title of this again? Someone said, I'm having my breakfast and I'm looking at this painting on the wall.
Wow.
And I said, let me just call you. It's so fulfilling for me as an artist. I'm a reason why you just want to wake up and people start realizing that art is deeper than just decoration. There's a lady that said, my husband can't get it. Then I met the guy, I met the husband, and I said, those butterfly paintings, every time...
I love those butterfly ones.
Every time...
I couldn't afford it, but I still...
And he said, every time I just sit on this armchair, I'm just staring at it, trying to get into the mind of the artist. Why did he put that blue beside? And he's contemplating. And at the end of the day, it relaxes him. I said, okay, that's the purpose. So people are connected to something that is deeper than the material, and that is art for you.
So for you, it's more about how you feel at any one moment.
My works are my personal experiences. If you look at work in series, because my experiences, if I want to be sincere with myself, are not the same all the time.
Yeah.
That is why what I do is not the same. I try much as possible to talk about global issues, the urban environment, issue of migration and the rest, because art is deep. It has gone beyond, it's beautiful. Yeah. It has to be, because more or less we're documenting. It's
a commentary.
Yeah, commentary, social commentary. You don't have to be in support or against, but you create that discourse, And for the fact that we're documenting all this stuff, in the future, people are going to say, just like, I know someone say, why are these people painting those small way, blah, blah, blah. And I said, the painting will last longer than photography.
Yeah.
In the future, let's say 50 years from now, People are going to tell their
this is what we used to write in.
This is what we used to. But those are doing those things are not sincere with themselves. What I expect to say now is, we are the blue buses.
Yes, that's true. They're still doing yellow buses.
Of course, because it's actually somehow wrapped into the DNA.
Well, it's like those Fulani people carrying. I've seen millions of those. And how many of those do you see around anymore?
If you look at Lagos, there's a lot of subject that, as an artist, is endless that you can talk about. And when people collect, they connect to something. It's not taste, it's just some, for example, I've seen someone say, I love this village scene because it reminds me of when I visit my grandma in the village. So most times, the reason why people love, exactly. So you're connecting with people, people can connect with it, and different kind of aesthetics. People get deep, and some say, oh, I love very sad art, and that's just, that kind of person. Some tend to say, like Professor Clark always say, you guys are not talking about the politics. Mm-hmm. And I say, man, our society is so tense. I want to make art that you don't know how to.
That's why I read rom-coms.
That when you get home, something to relax you, and so those are actually my take about making art and for people to connect, with the art. I've done works that someone say, oh, this looks like my son. So I say, no, it's not your son. It's a figment of the artist's imagination. This person doesn't exist, And when you look at this connection, you know that there's something, people that, I would say they're very special. People that collect art, they're very special in everything because some people can't get it, but some people can actually connect. Lately, I know ladies say, oh, I'd rather buy art than buy a Gucci bag.
Well, that's incredible, yeah.
And they will say, okay, let's leave that beside. The alternative investment part of art cannot be. I explained that way back where.
You're the financier. You tell us.
Somebody bought this. Maybe it's like 150K, and the next thing they're having this auction, and I saw like 1.2 million. I say, really? What? Lately, people have been saying, but Nigerian art is not liquid. It's not liquid.
Says who?
I'm coming. So they keep on saying that stuff, and I've seen a trend which I really love. I said, you don't have to come to me and buy. If you love any of my piece, go to, and I see this transaction exchanging hands.
Yeah, from a collector to collector.
After all, this is a beautiful thing I'm talking about. We are liquid after all. There's liquidity, in the heart, So it's been a very amazing journey, so far.
I'm glad you shared it with us. Now, Ayoola, tell me about Obatala and your special link. You are a direct descendant of Obatala. Obatala is a major deity of the Orisha, of the Yoruba land. And as a son of an Oba yourself, His Royal Majesty Oba Olaolu Ayoola Elewa, you describe yourself as a custodian of culture?
I'm learning to.
You're learning, yes, because those are big shoes, and you're in line, to be the next Akwetu of Ikwetu Modu.
Yes.
How does your art link your spirituality as that mantle of Obatala, because that is mega in Yoruba culture, and how do you then bring that into the modern art scene? So tell me about the Obatala first.
So I didn't know of the link until the throne was open, and my uncle called me up to say, I've been chosen, blah blah blah, and there was a lot of back and forth on that. But my interest as a kid was always to go back. That has always been my
your interest. Ancestors. Or to look back, your history, your culture.
History of man, history of who
anthropology.
We are, language. It has always been my thing. So the first thing that kicked in was, how important is this throne? Even though I know my grandfather was king, my father was king, but what's the big deal? Why am I going to be king?
Did you want to not take it? Were you thinking of not taking it?
That was me trying to find a reason not to.
Not to take it, yeah.
So that was when, so I went to the town, started talking to my great uncles, blah, blah. And that was when they started telling me about how we are from Obatala's loins and not Odudua. I'm like, what is that? I never heard that before.
Gosh.
I used to think everybody came from Odudua. So they said,
yes, I did.
Yes. So they told me, no. This is why your father wore these clothes. You see the crown your father was wearing. This is why. You see, started showing me pictures and reasons that this is why this was that. You know.
So you were on a learning journey yourself.
Yes, I was. So I was like, okay, so who is this Obatala? You know. Then I started reading more about him, and I discovered that he was actually an artist.
Wow.
So the Yoruba history believes that when Olodumare wanted to create the world, he got Obatala to make all the molds of all human beings.
Gosh.
And Olodumare will breathe life into them. So he will make the mold, then Olodumare will breathe life into them. So that makes him the first artist actually, in the Yoruba history. And that was like eureka for me. I mean, I'm an artist now. Yes. How easy can it get? So I was like, oh, okay, so I have my connecting story from, and it also made me go like, and I didn't even want to be an artist to start with, but now, maybe it's spiritual.
There is some higher power
I started
that
thinking
led
of
you to
things
it.
like that. So it made me even go a bit deeper into, I mean, I've always been spiritual with my work, but it made me even go deeper into like, being more responsible for this rather than a profession or a job that fits me. But it's more like, whoa, if
this is a heavy
if this
responsibility
blood is in my veins, maybe there's more to this. Maybe I need to take this more seriously than I've been doing. So that's pretty much the connection, and that's how I know. And
how has that affected your art?
It has, because now, like I said, I'm now driven more. I mean, back in the day, I always say my interest is to make art that would heal, art that would please, art that would bless, you know. I want something on your wall that would do something to you. You know, no disrespect to interior decoration. That's great. But again, look at what he said. You know, you have to look at this art and get something, you know, let it bless you in a way. You paid me for it.
It must evoke something.
And it's going to add value again. So how can it just be like when the house is burning, you're not going to think of picking it first?
Yes.
You know, it has to be that.
Or people like me who say, does it match my interior design?
You know? So I'm like, so now that I now learned this, is now like more weight on my shoulder, and every single thing I do needs to mean something. It must affect the world. It must. And I'm not even like this type of artist that would consciously make something for a topic that is going on. So let's say consciously make something for politics or immigration or this. But what I've discovered is I make things about human beings. And when people ask me, what do you have for immigration? I look into my archive and I'm like,
that works.
Oh, this works. So, and when I send it, they go like, oh, yes, tell us about it. So I'm like, if you're making something for humans, anyway, it will connect eventually. Just be true that it's for humans to start with.
Wow. You know, we could have this, we could talk for like hours, but I just want to touch on something. We've all been through this COVID period, and for many artists, it's been actually a bit of a blessing because you just been so prolific and stuff. But how about selling your stuff and getting it out there? How have you managed to do that during that period? Not just producing the work, because I presume you have the time to do it.
Yeah.
And Alimi, I know you started this way before COVID.
For me, I know when they had people always the same question: how do you guys survive? Oh, it's tough. Blah blah blah. I just want to know because that comes to what I like about the spirituality of art. I just say, though I've stopped doing kind of Instagram, which is actually another avenue for people to market.
Yes, that's where people really know you.
But I would say people that collect are more like advertisers for your work. You know, people go to people's homes and say, "Oh, this is amazing," and I said we don't use marketers, we don't use, but I just out of the blue.
So you don't do online anymore?
No.
Wow.
No.
Because, but people now know you. Well, I know you, and I'm not important.
I think artists' work should be able to
speak for itself.
Exactly, and
at least when you get to a certain level.
And people should be able to connect the dots and say, okay, there's something I've seen about this art. Is this something to me? And this inquiry just pick up out of the blues, The COVID is really tough. I mean, we're able to, for some, for me, I couldn't really create,
Wow.
Because the old NSAS.
Yes.
I didn't see it as a subject because it was so depressing.
Yeah.
And
you couldn't work during that period?
No. The only thing I did is I did a body of work that I call Solitude and Pandemic, which I now realize for the young artists, how do they survive? That's why some of us are established. And imagine you going to art school and your parents say, oh, go and get a job. What is this stuff you're doing? So I had to set up a non-profit that I call Nomad Artist. It's supposed to be a long-term program.
Well, I hope you're going to give us all the information so that we can tell people how to get in touch.
Because the idea of the Nomad Artist is all artists, we are all nomads. Yeah. And what is responsible for our own development is my travel, my exposure. So for the young artists, some of them haven't been to museums or they haven't been anywhere. So the long-term plan was to say, okay, 3 artists go to Barcelona or go to Paris, visit the museums. But I had to, it was a long-term plan, but I had to make it what I call the virtual approach to artist support over COVID. So I did this body of work. It was sold out, so I had to donate. I was able to raise 3 million. So I was able to give 30 artists 100K each.
Which that is so cool.
Which is so interesting, people had to call in and said, really? People just apply, you give? Because I can imagine you trying to buy materials, you trying to...
No, but Alimi, you've always done a lot of charity work. That's how I met you.
Yeah, because it's also the artist's responsibility. Yeah. People always say, when you say, as an artist, you're not so special than... We all need to be civil. We all need to be responsible for something in the society.
Well, as they say there, but for the love of God, go I.
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually a very big eye-opener because for me, I've experienced the way they treated artists in other parts of the world. And so it's actually a project. So the next one was just to say, okay, 3 artists, go stay in this hotel, work for 3 days.
And maybe have a mentor? Or
of course, it was even a very amazing experience for them.
Wow.
I said, I've been to the Middle East where I've had a show and the way I was treated, travel reading, first class ticket. I said, this is how art is supposed to be.
Yes,
so for the young artists, for the first time, they're going in this beautiful hotel somewhere in Lekki and they're there for 3 days. They work, all expense paid, meal. And so for me, what I realize is if you don't support the young artists, you yourself, you're not going anywhere.
You don't grow either.
So based on that, it's just the natural laws. I've seen in my own practice, I've seen what I've gained.
Yeah.
Try to do something without expecting anything back because we don't have the infrastructure, no safety net for artists.
No. We don't have a social welfare system.
The reason I have to do that is someone had to say, okay, somebody decide to go, a guy to go and feed, what's it called, in Lagos Island. I said, oh, this is an industry. Young artists are there, you're not supporting, and you want to go and let the local government, do that. So the COVID, there's been a boom with people because people are connecting with something.
Yeah.
And people are looking inwards to say, okay, there's something about not just, oh, I go to work, I come back. Yeah. I don't even have time to look at it.
Yes.
And the guy said, I go to work and I'm running back home to go and see my art.
Oh, how lovely.
So
COVID has been, for you as an established artist, good, and you've managed to actually achieve something by helping other people.
Absolutely, yes. I couldn't travel for some of the programs, so just have to develop your society. That's it for me.
Ayoola, how was COVID period for you, pandemic period?
I couldn't go to the studio because my studio is away from the house.
Oh,
no. But it helped me because it made me connect back to drawing, which I...
Drawing as opposed to painting?
Yes. Which I haven't done in like some years. So I was doing a lot of drawings and like I said, I had a show, an online show.
Online show? Gosh, was that an international?
Yes, it was by a gallery in London. And I think it sold maybe because many people haven't seen drawings from me before. But yeah, it was tough because I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't see people.
So how did you express yourself?
It was hard. I was talking to the plants in the garden. It was serious.
They grew really well from all that conversation.
It was serious because I get my art from people.
Yes, because I read that about you.
Nature
you feed off
doesn't
people.
Inspire me. I'm not that type of artist that would get inspired by water. Nothing. No, I need human contact. So COVID, there was no human contact. So I wake up like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'll go into the garden and I will start humanizing the plants and having conversations and projecting like they're human beings. So I was doing that for a long time, and that kicked into me being able to draw.
Fantastic.
So I drew some of them, and I drew random stuff. But I humanized the plants to give me that feeling like I'm having conversations.
I hope your neighbors didn't see you talking to them. They would have called the doctor quickly.
My wife understood, but she would rather I do that than to
that is true.
Than to use only her.
Now, this is the bit that I like the best. Okay. You might not enjoy it, but this is where we do like a quick answers.
Okay.
Your Sunday morning vibe.
I sleep.
And you, Alimi?
Music for me, I always try to cook for the family. That's the only day before they come back from church, exactly, yeah.
Okay. So what is the one thing on your bucket list? What would you like to do before you kick the bucket?
To go to Japan.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you?
I think to have an artist-funded world-class museum.
Fantastic. Right. From your mouth to the ears of God.
Amen.
So what's your favorite meal?
Anything with seafood, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not Ibado food.
No, I've grown to like seafood too.
When you're the Akwetu of Ikwetu, you're going to carry seafood to that place.
I'm going to have a pond.
You're going to have your own pond. You eat what you kill. And what's your favorite meal?
I think it's what I call I call it Nando's hack that I cook for myself.
Nando's hack?
Yeah, exactly.
So you take the chicken.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
What kind of pepper?
Exactly. You just do the chicken and also the rice.
Wow. And you do it by yourself?
Absolutely.
It has to be you.
Exactly.
Nobody gets it quite right. Yes. So if you weren't an artist, I know you wanted to be an architect. Would you today still would have wanted to be an artist, an architect if you weren't an artist?
If I wasn't an artist, I would have been an architect.
Right. So you might still do it. Who knows? You might design your own house.
No, to be honest, I'm building a residency in Ikwetu mode right now.
Wow.
And,
you're putting your art into
myself. Oh, yes. It's going to be a residency, It's a model that is... I like luxury stuff, so whoever's gonna be there will have a great time.
I'm an invite straight away.
Yes.
I'm begging now.
And I'm working with something that I call Yoruba architecture, because I did a lot of research on that.
Do you? I don't know if you've heard of. I'm sure you have. I can't remember his name now. This artist. He wasn't an architect, really.
Demas
Nwoko. Oh, I love his work. The Catholic Seminary in Ibadan. Yeah. I just want to stand outside that building and look at it.
His house.
Yes, in Benin.
No, in
Ibadan.
In Delta.
In Delta, yes. Yeah.
Agbaroto Hamatan workshop that he designed for Bruce.
Neocultural Studios.
Look, you can just see how
that
him not being a four-walled trained architect, but an artist and an architect in his mind. You can see the difference in that work.
It's just stunning work. I mean, I bought a book that was written about him, and I was just
the architecture of Demas Nwoko.
Yeah. So, what would you have liked to be, Alimi? If you weren't an artist, what would you? I mean, I know you used to be a financier. I don't think that was what you.
Actually, I think I'm going to be an artist. I don't see.
You don't see yourself ever doing anything else.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, your last 100,000 naira. What would you spend it on?
Not my wife and my kids. It's going to be with my friends. I always like to hang out.
You have a good time.
Always. I need people all the time.
Miliki!
Yes.
And what would you do with your last 100?
For me, it has to be art material.
Gosh.
Without the material,
on that desert island, it will be you and the art materials. Okay, so what is your current favorite song? What's on your Spotify or iPod?
Look, I'm always like 90s music person, so I always go back a lot.
Go back.
But recently, I would say Lucky Dube has been back to back.
Lucky Dube?
Yeah, his whole Essential album.
What kind of genre is it?
Reggae.
Yeah. I'm checking that out. Lucky Dube, yes? Okay, I'm on it. What about you?
It's difficult because I always have a studio playlist because I believe that the music that you listen to while you're creating really... So I mostly listen to non-vocal kind of, more like chill and lounge,
I call it elevator music.
Oh.
Anything I don't hear a voice, it's in the lift.
Exactly. You just create the right ambience for me without distraction,
So which particular one?
Maybe TV Incorporation.
Oh,
I take that bass.
I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah.
I haven't heard any of these guys. It just shows my age, yeah? Okay. So what are you watching? Netflix, DSTV, whatever?
El Chapo.
El Chapo. Poor chap got caught too.
I'm watching it for the third time.
Wow. Did you like this other guy, The Godfather?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching El Chapo, you must have watched The Godfather. And what are you watching?
Jiva is a South African kind of musical kind of, and it's so inspiring because
I've never heard of it.
I want to say, are we more authentic than the South African? Because their filmmaking is always they speak English, and the way they fuse in their Zulu is just so beautiful, and they're not like it has to be English, just for them. So I find most of their production very.
I never watched it. I mean, they watch a lot of Nollywood, as far as I know. Because I heard somewhere that, and I don't know if it's true, they said Soyinka was on the same flight as Genevieve or one of these to South Africa. And when he landed, there were a lot of crowds, and he thought it was him that they were coming for. Well, they didn't even notice. They just ran to It's probably a lie, but this is what I heard.
It could be true because, again, it has to do with the generation.
Yes.
I mean, like, Soyinka's laureate was 86.
Yes, it's my age
Do
group.
people read like that anymore? No, they don't.
No,
do people watch a lot more now? Yes, they do. So
certainly in Africa, Nollywood is big. They all speak like, in fact, Nigerian wedding outfits are now being used.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's actually a very good export for us.
Yes, big time.
I read somewhere way back, I think it was during Jonathan, and they went to visit Russia. And after the whole economic and business, and the next day Putin said, I think I've seen Nollywood. It was a very big eye-opener to say, since that time, the presidents have been taking Nollywood very important as a very good, because our image has been tarnished by a lot of stuff.
No, but they've done so. Nollywood has done, and music has done so much. A lot of young Nigerians now, they won't tell you they're African American or they're English. They're Nigerian. They're really proud to be.
Is big.
And they even speak some of our broken English.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, right. Describe yourself in 3 words, Ayoola. This should be interesting.
I mean, I'm loyal.
Loyal. That's good. Good husband material, eh?
Actually, I think I am.
Yes, you think you are. Your wife is listening.
She comes first. Huh?
Yes, okay. You're loyal?
I'm loyal. Got empathy.
You got empathy?
Deep one. Ambitious.
Ambitious. I love that. An artist that's ambitious, because you just get this, you normally have this image of artists as being chilled and laid back, not ambitious. That's an interesting description. So, Alimi, how would you describe yourself?
I think I'm an introvert because I spend most times. You always take effort to.
But every time we've been to your studio, he's so welcoming. He spreads out the nosh. I go there just for the food. Sometimes when I'm hungry. Apart from the arts, of course.
Introvert, more like an alchemist. What I mean by that is just trying to say, okay, you can make art from anything.
Yeah.
And thirdly, maybe I'll say more a wine.
A wine buff.
lover.
Exactly. Yes, that's more artistic. They bring their wine.
It's Mamanike, amazing Mamanike will say, an artist that doesn't drink. It's not a real artist.
He's just pretending.
I said, it's not me, it's just Mamanike. Witty sarcasm,
You have to live up to the name now. You have no self-respecting artist can be a
I always tell some artists, they don't say, if Mamanike can take a glass of wine, come on.
Yes. Okay. Now, this is the last part. I hope you're prepared. Some people cop out of this bit, but I'm not going to let you get out. Ayoola, tell me a joke.
I had to reply when I saw it.
You have to come up with a joke.
Do I get funny sometimes? Yes, I do. But have I come up with a joke?
You can steal one. You don't even. It doesn't have to be original.
The only joke I remember, and it's the same joke that always comes when things like this come up. It was told to me by an artist friend of mine.
Okay.
Actually, the artist that was with the gallery owner that made me stay to become an artist.
And you're still in touch with him?
Oh, yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Me and him, we shared the studio together for 3 years. So anyway, it's a Christmas joke.
Okay.
So it says, so this guy was brought from the village to his master's house to work, kind of like a help in the house. And the master gave him a chicken to take and deliver, Christmas gifts to another family member. On their way, so he took an Okada. He carried the chicken, took an Okada, and they were going. They had a small accident, the Okada tripped, and of course the chicken
ran away.
Yes. So he stood up and started laughing because everybody was around them, like, are you guys okay? But he was laughing. So everybody was like,
what's wrong with this
guy? So he was pointing at the
runaway
direction of the chicken and was laughing so bad. They're like, they have to help him to catch. I said, don't catch the chicken, leave the chicken. Now me get address, he don't know where they go.
Now that is good. I'm definitely gonna use that.
That's like so dumb.
That was good. This chicken thinking knows past me.
Now me get address. He was showing them, see address. He don't know where they go.
Okay, Alimi, your joke. You're gonna have to top that one.
Joke. Okay, yeah. It's always people always ask me, when is the work done?
Yeah.
When is the actual, when is it finished? And I always when the check clears.
True.
That one is good. You know his background as a finance guy.
The numbers.
Always the numbers. Now, guys, I have had the most amazing time, and thank you so much. Can you please give us your handles where people can get in touch with you? I know you're going to get a lot of hits on your sites, so please tell us how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, my handle is the same. AYOOLAART. Ayoola Art. One word.
Okay, that's Instagram.
It's all Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Well, you're banned on Twitter. Nigeria don't ban also.
The thing is, I can stop tweeting.
So
I tweet through my brother in Yankee.
That's your story anyway. That's your story. Okay, how do they get hold of you? Because you're not on Instagram anymore.
You can actually DM me.
I think he doesn't engage anymore, but the page is still there.
It's there, yeah. Just Alimi Adewale. Also my website, alimiadewale.com.
Okay.
With that, I was able to archive all what I've been doing for the past decade.
Fantastic.
Compared to just trying to post picture for likes, and I think that doesn't really go well with my practice.
Well, it doesn't even go well with somebody's mental health. It's like you're being judged on such a superficial level all the time.
Yeah, and also the reason why I stopped doing that, because people that collect my works, most of them are not there.
That's true.
People that are there don't collect my work, so I wonder what am I doing here? It's just like a branding also. Like someone have you ever seen a Rolls Royce advert? And they said, no. And they said, people that buy Rolls Royce don't sit down watching TV. So that's
true.
Yes, so.
I didn't think of that.
So that's why Calabar City.
But sometimes also it's an expression. It's like instead of people coming to you all the time, if somebody is abroad, it's a way for you to say, okay.
I have to be on social media because it's the easiest way for me to see what people are really like.
Yes.
I need it for my work. Yeah. I'm on everything because I need it for my work. Yeah. Let me just be honest. Yeah.
I love that. I'm
social media is easy because people be revealing themselves in the ways that they won't normally do. So I'm like, okay.
So that's why you're.
So, I'm stealing all the time.
I'm still taking that. I'm copying you. I'm stealing you.
It's content for you.
It is, yes.
That's fine.
Well, thank you so much. And make sure you give us a 5-star rating, subscribe, share with your friends. And if you have any questions, go to their sites or go to us at bananaislandliving.com or at Banana Island Living on Instagram. We also tweet via God knows where, but we're tweeting, Sha. That's all I know.
I mean, the way we're going, maybe you pay me a tweet for you.
Yes, from abroad. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.